It's about that time of day again, folks. Welcome back to Nightly Newsletter, boys and girls. Joseph James here. Tuesday evening, September 15th, 2015. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Crude oil gave us exactly what we wanted today. Nice and bullish as we're rotating off these range lows. We've got some targets waiting for you crude buyers. If you followed the plan for today, you're doing very well with it so far. Almost there. How about the S&P? S&P get a second push from the buyers. We knew we were likely going to get the price going higher on the E-mini S&P. Didn't think it was going to be that easy here today. We got the failure as it went higher here. Now we're right up near those range highs. So stay patient at these highs on the S&P. We're looking for selling opportunities probably later in the day tomorrow. And then how about that gold? Nice tight range right now on gold, which means we're looking for failure patterns at the highs and the lows on gold for tomorrow. And the euro, we got that bullish bias to that trading range of the euro right now. The sellers are inches away from finishing their rotation back to the lows. Tomorrow might be that liftoff day for all you euro buyers. As you can see, we have a jam-packed newsletter in store for us. Remember, we got the Fed day kicking off tomorrow. Two-day meeting starts tomorrow. We've got inventories tomorrow on crude oil. We have, what else? We have quadruple witching on Friday. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. We have quite a week filled with trading opportunities for us today, guys. And we have a strategy for you guys tomorrow. Before we jump into today's charts, though, I do want to remind you, as we always do, please make sure you're watching this video on our trading blog here at Sideways Markets. If you're watching it on our YouTube channel right now, there's a link in the description of the YouTube video. That'll take you over here to our blog. A couple of reasons why you should be watching this video on our blog. First of all, if you're not a member of School of Trade and you'd like a free pass to come out and test drive our live trade room, grab your free pass, upper left-hand corner. Very, very easy there. Just make sure you check your inbox. I'm going to send you information to your email box. Also, never miss another newsletter ever again. Lower left-hand corner, we have a mailing list for our nightly newsletter. All I need is your name and your email address right above my ugly mug. Check your inbox. I'm going to verify your email address when you give me your name and your email, and now you'll always get an email from me every evening when this newsletter goes live. Right below the video tonight on the blog, you can download all the charts you'll see in tonight's video, even some bonus charts in there. So follow that link right below the video to download today's charts. You can also, on the right-hand side, you can register as a trial member here at School of Trade. I'll teach you all about the who, what, where, when, and why about being a member here at School of Trade. Also, you can get membership information, read membership reviews, and of course, we've got someone standing by 24/7 to help you guys out with any questions you may have. We've got answers in the lower right-hand side there on the trading blog. I think that covers it for now, though. I think that covers it. Enough flapping of the gums. Let's get into some charts. Let's get those strategies ready for tomorrow. Before we jump into chart, though, real quickly here, I do want to remind you guys, tomorrow is the beginning of the FOMC meeting. We're going to get that 2 o'clock on Thursday. So we shouldn't see much reaction to FOMC tomorrow. Tomorrow, the big word is inventory day on crude oil. We got the API number today at 4:30 p.m. was a negative number on the API. Price jumped up. No real surprise there. Tomorrow, though, you really want to be on your best behavior trading crude oil. Don't forget, we have a plan for inventory days on crude oil futures. Come out and join us tomorrow, and we'll trade that plan together. But bottom line is we will be trading around the inventory report tomorrow. Just be aware, though, we don't have to deal with FOMC until Thursday afternoon. So we definitely still have, in my opinion, tomorrow is probably going to be the last full day of trading that we're going to have this quadruple witching week. Remember, quadruple witching is not your average OPEX. It's the third week of every 3 months, March, June, September, and December. So we are in that third week right now, which means we do have that pseudo traders holiday coming up on Thursday and Friday. We also have a plan for quadruple witching we teach to all of our students. But we still got about 24, maybe 36 hours here of some relatively rational price action. And we'll start here with the crude futures this evening. I don't think we could have scripted this any better on crude. If you recall the newsletter from last night, we said, all right, we're going to rotate up off these lows, and then we're looking for an A, B, C, D going higher here. And I mean, come on, are they going to give us anything better than that? Was there anything easier than that buying opportunity after that correction? Just beautiful. You couldn't have scripted it ahead of time any better. It's exactly what we were waiting for today, and it put us in a beautiful buying opportunity here today. Now, the easy money was made already by you buyers. So if you're in this trade right now, you've got a target waiting for you up around that measured move at 45.31. We're going to get another opportunity right now on the next pullback. What's likely to happen is we're likely to see this A, B, C, D before we get the next correction and the next big dip for us to buy it again. We are in rotation mode right now in the big picture on crude. So we're rotating from the range lows up towards those range highs. We also have these trend lines we've drawn in above and below that is creating this wedge. So right now in the short term, this is our main rotation. But we are expecting, though, these buyers to try to get it all the way back up to the high of that range around 46.37. Tomorrow's inventory day, so we got to keep our heads on a swivel, keep our eyes open tomorrow. We will be trading around that inventory report tomorrow, but ultimately right now, though, the easy money is unfortunately behind us this week. So locking up some good profit early in the quadruple witching week, that's exactly what we planned on doing here from last night. And again, bullish, trying to complete this rotation back to the highs of the range, which means our plan will be to look for buying opportunities using pullbacks, using seller failures until we get up to those highs, where we will then look for buyer failure followed by selling opportunities back down to those lows. Again, careful with tomorrow being an inventory report. So really the ultimate plan for tomorrow is I expect by the time I get in tomorrow morning in the US session that we will have already run this price up to that measured move. My profit targets will all get filled, and then we'll go looking for another opportunity to buy after a correction, possibly down to that 44.5. If we're going to be a buyer, we're always looking for corrections. That's always how we want to be a buyer on this stuff. But really the scenario right now is if we do not make it up to that measured move before we start the session tomorrow, you can be a little bit more aggressive at getting a little bit short-term pullback to be a buyer here. The big concern comes tomorrow if we have already completed that measured move. If we've completed the measured move, you can definitely expect to see some bigger profit taking by the buyers, and then which will likely result in a deeper pullback. So really, there's no question. We're definitely bullish right now in the short term. The big variable right now is between now and tomorrow morning at about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, have we completed the measured move? If we have completed the measured move, then you really want to be patient here, and we'll start looking for another A, B, C, D. But we're going to be looking for it to pull back a little bit further because that measured move is expected to be a good profit target for folks. If we haven't achieved that 45.31 between now and tomorrow morning, right around that 7 to 8 o'clock hour, right, then we know we still have work to be done. So we'll look for a much more aggressive opportunity to be a buyer. If we haven't seen us hit that measured move, I'll be looking for seller failure to be a more aggressive buyer. That's always going to be the highest probability way to be an aggressive buyer, right? Up near those highs, would be looking for sellers to try to take this thing lower, right, and sell off or buy into those stop losses. So really the variable to me right now is that measured move, right? If we have reached it in the overnight session, then we expect a deeper pullback. If we have not reached it, I'm going to use those seller failures on the way down to buy right in their stop losses, try to get a little more juice behind this thing up to finish that measured move. Keep an eye on this tomorrow because it's inventory day. Remember, we're sitting on hands from 10:15 to 10:45 around inventory day here for crude oil. Moving on. Now, boy, oh boy, these buyers sure had some fun with this thing today. Now, of course, we talked about this last night. If you recall from last night, we knew we had this kind of consolidating market, right? This is a consolidating market in last night's newsletter, and we were right in the middle of that range. And remember what I said last night, it's very difficult for me to blindly say be a buyer, but we had definite reasons to think that those bulls were going to take this price higher. Remember the reasons behind it? Right? Sellers tried once, couldn't do it. Sellers tried twice, couldn't get anywhere close to it. Buyers tried once. We knew those buyers most likely were going to try again. The question was, though, how much juice would they have in it? And you could see all these, right? They had no problem. They had no problem pushing those prices higher. A little bit low volume this week, thanks to the rollover combined with FOMC, and of course, all eyes are on the Fed here with FOMC on Thursday regarding interest rates. So, while the cat's away, the mice will play. The low volume rally, we do typically see that stuff during low volume. It's a little bit easier to get the price to rise during those low volume environments. So what's our plan here now, right? Oh, and of course, if you were looking to buy this today, if you remember, my exact words last night were look around that 57. That's where you got the good buy on it, right? You saw those sellers try to sell it here and fail. That was really the only spot you really had to be a buyer after watching the price go up to the high of that range and then fail to collapse back down. That was really your best buying opportunity of the morning here this morning. Now, I think the name of the game right now is going to be patience, just because we haven't quite finished the rotation, right? This is one of those examples where we really tried hard, but those buyers have not completed the rotation. So E-mini S&P is bullish after a very successful, low volume second try from the buyers. Our goal is to see these buyers fail at these highs for selling opportunities, but we have to stay patient because the buyers still have room to keep pushing up to those range highs. You'll also notice we have a measured move up top there, and then, I always call this kind of a faux channel. We're inside of a range, right? I mean, that we're definitely inside of a range. So this trend channel here, we do expect rotation, right? I mean, let's be honest, we do expect rotation. We expect rotation. So we're likely to finish the move up here. I'm not sure how important this channel is going to be long term. I think more importantly, though, is this ABCD. I think that's going to be your most important clue right now, and then rotating up to those range highs. So again, we said this yesterday. I'll say it again. Really, patience is the biggest important factor of this S&P right now. We knew we didn't want to get too aggressive being in the middle of that range. We get a chance to buy into those seller failure about 2/3 of the way, or I should say 3/4 of the way up. That took us up to the highs, and now, again, we really want to wait for this price to finish the move and then wait for those buyers to fail and sell it right back down. So you know how it always goes. You got to stay patient. We want it to fail and sell off these highs much faster than this S&P is going to most likely give it to us. So if I had to guess, I would say middle to late morning, if not tomorrow afternoon, is probably when you're going to see that sell-off, if there is one tomorrow on the S&P. What also may happen is we may end up just sitting right up top here in a range tomorrow, waiting on the FOMC report. So I have a hard time, once again, telling you to be a buyer. There's not much left as far as the buy side goes, at least as far as the analysis goes. For all we know, this market could be tied to a rocket ship here and could keep going all the way up to that 82.5. So we definitely have more room for the buyers to go. If you're going to be a buyer at this point, though, you definitely want to be a little bit, a little bit conservative. Don't get too greedy with those profit targets, just because you've got the range rotation at the highs, 73.5. You've got measured moves, 79. You've got 82.5, the high of that range. and then channel rotation. So again, you've got room to go. So if you've got a profit target still waiting on here, that target is definitely going to be the best opportunity will be up around that 73.5. But of course, that measured move, I can't say a bad thing about using that as your target as well. Then of course, we're looking for buyer failure at these highs, find those stop losses and sell right into those stops as we rotate back down to the low of this. Again, I'm going to call it a faux channel just because we're not in a trending market right now. We are in a range-bound market. It just seems to be pushing higher in the short term. So channel rotation back down. That's going to be your seller's target back down here. We've got targets waiting for the sellers at 57, at 40.5. And again, we'll play it by ear here, see when the timing comes down to the low of that channel. All right, guys? So a little bit more room left over here for the buyers to keep pushing this thing higher. Again, much like crude oil, though, the easy money on the buying opportunities here have already been made this week. Now we're waiting for sellers to come in at the highs, buyer failure. So just don't get too greedy if you're still entering into bullish positions right now on the S&P. How about some euro? Let's keep moving here. From the E-mini over here to the currency futures, the FX, Euro FX, symbol 6E. Don't forget, we are trading the 12.15 contract now on all the indexes and all of the currencies. As you can see here, we talked about this in last night's newsletter. This is just very, very typical what's going on here right now. So we have a long-term channel. We've got the rotation from the lows to the highs, back down to the lows, and now we're expecting buyers to come in and try to run this back to the highs. The big clue that we're seeing though right now is this bullish push into a trading range. That tells us we want to buy the lows of the trading range, right? Looking for seller traps, looking for bear traps down around these lows. And if you recall from last night, we talked about the fact that we were going to try to rotate this price from the high down to the low and then use that low for the best buying opportunity going higher. We also talked about this week and last week for that matter that we know that when we're dealing with the market personality, market psychology, we know the sellers will try twice. We got one try, we got two tries, and much like the S&P, we're almost there. We haven't quite finished the job off yet, getting down, rotating down to those lows. So we're in a great place to be looking for some buying opportunities. But I think the word of the day for tomorrow is going to be patience. We want to see this price go all the way down to that range low. So taking a look at our notes in the upper left-hand corner here, the euro is definitely bullish, and the sellers have almost completed the full rotation back to the lows of the trading range, which means buyers will be looking for the opportunity at the lows. Buyers want to stay patient to let the sellers complete the rotation to the lows, 12.74, and the measured move at 12.60. So we have 12.74, that's going to be the range low, and then 12.60, that's your measured move off these highs, right? And that's a real juicy area there of support, because that's exactly what you'd expect to be happening here as this price goes lower, right? Some sellers will get caught on the wrong side of the market, and then we'll see this thing give us a nice buying opportunity, possibly middle to late morning tomorrow morning. Who knows? It all depends on what happens here in the Asian session overnight. So if the buyers fail at these lows, we got to keep in mind that with this bearish channel coming down, if we do see buyer failure at those lows, we've got some targets waiting for us that'll basically bring us right back to where this move started, all the way back down around the 1183. So we're looking at the highest probability trades right now for the euro right now is going to be let these sellers finish their job off, getting down to the measured move, rotating down to the lows of that channel, and then we're looking for buying opportunities, taking this thing back up. You know what we're looking for here for buying opportunities: seller failure at these lows to buy it right back up. Targets are waiting for you overhead at the resistance areas overhead. If we do happen to fail, right, with every opportunity, there is a failure opportunity as well. If we do not see these sellers fail here, if they are successful, you bears out there could be looking at targets at 12.29 and 11.83. The higher probability right now is being a buyer, of course. But again, we'll keep our eyes peeled tomorrow for a possible failure, because when you look back in time here, you can see there's quite a bit of interest down around this 1180 area, and that will be likely where we end up failing too. Now you get your plan for the euro tomorrow. Don't forget, you do not need to trade these markets on your own out there. Come out and join me tomorrow in the trade room, and we'll do it together. Last but not least, an extremely range-bound market, gold futures, will finish up tonight's newsletter. Gold is range-bound this evening and resting right on the lows of the range after the buyers tried twice to get this price back up to those 11.9 highs. Now we expect the buyers to rotate this price once again back higher, and we'll then look for buyers to fail for selling opportunities off the highs. The key to this market is to wait for failures at the highs and lows to allow us to buy the lows and sell the highs. And also, don't forget, we talked about this last night, we have a bearish bias in the market right now, and that bearish bias is definitely going to tell us that if we can find ourselves up around these highs again, that's where we really want to sink our teeth into some good selling opportunities later on, either tomorrow or later on this week. So first things first, we do know that we have this rotation happening inside this range, rotate from the highs down to the lows. Now this was what was interesting. We couldn't find a way to get those buyers back up to that high, and it came crashing back down. That just goes to show you how bearish and heavy this market feels right now. Couldn't get the rotation back up to the highs. So naturally, after the buyers failed, trying twice, they run this right back down to those lows, and it appears they have held at that low here as we head into tomorrow's session. And that means we're likely going to see these buyers try to run this price right back higher again. Once again, just like we saw yesterday, we're going to be looking for one try, two tries. If we haven't been able to successfully reach those highs after once, twice, right? Again, think what happened over here. Then we know it's going to be a failure pattern and back down to those lows to possibly complete a measured move back lower. The key to trading this range right now, though, is fading all the breakouts until proven otherwise. That means if this price does go lower, I'm looking for sellers to fail so I can buy those lows. As we go back up to these highs, take your profit up at the highs, wait for the buyers to struggle at the highs, and we're selling it right back down in. The name of the game in a range-bound market is fade, 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 fade those highs and lows. And we're going to use our failure patterns for that tomorrow on the gold. We get a plan for you. Now come out and see us tomorrow morning in our trade room, and we'll walk you through the plan in real time. That wraps it up here for now. We get a range-bound market with a short-term bullish direction on gold. We are waiting patiently here right now to see that completion of rotation on the euro for buying opportunities on the euro. We know the S&P is only a few inches away from completing its rotation back to its highs. Buyers need to be conservative buying at these highs. There's not a lot of profit left over at these highs. There is profits to be made, but don't get greedy as you keep going higher. And then we're looking for selling opportunities back down to those lows again. And then crude oil, beautiful. Again, couldn't have scripted this any better on crude today. Remember, that variable on crude futures is that measured move at 43.5. If we find ourselves completing the measured move overnight, we look for a much deeper correction before we try to make that push up to that 45.52 area, 45.76, and then, of course, likely a bigger measured move, right, to finish the week off. Tomorrow's inventory day on crude, so don't forget, trade around that news. Don't get too aggressive getting too close to that news tomorrow morning. And wrapping things up, don't forget, everything you need is right there for you on the blog. And if you got some free time today, don't forget to head over to schooloftrade.com. Grab a copy of our free trial. We get the best free trial in the business, guys. I take a lot of pride in the fact that you're going to learn more with me in my free trial than you will anywhere else on the interwebs. We have a place for everyone to call home here at School of Trade. We got beginner, intermediate, and advanced levels of membership, whether you're a brand new trader or you're a seasoned veteran still trying to figure out the pieces to this puzzle. We've got a home for everyone here at School of Trade. And as always, I've got someone standing by, knowledgeable person standing by 24/7, 365 to give you guys any answers to your important questions. As I always say, guys, being a successful trader is not enough just to know the numbers. You've got to know the sequence of the numbers. Just like opening up a combination lock, it's not enough to just know the digits. You got to know the combination. And I look forward to sharing you the recipe for success that we share with all of our students here at School of Trade as we help them launch long-term, effective, and profitable careers in the financial markets. My name is Joseph James. Thanks so much for stopping by. Don't forget, the newsletter is only Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week. I will not be in the office on Thursday and Friday afternoons. They do let me out of my cage every once in a while, and quadruple witching is my time to go have some fun with family and friends. So we'll talk more about that with our students. We have a definite plan for quad witching weeks. I look forward to teaching that to you as well. Don't forget, send me some feedback. Give me a comment below the video, a thumbs up on the YouTube channel, and of course, share this with a friend. The trade room opens up at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'll be back here tomorrow afternoon with my final newsletter for the week at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. My name is Joseph. Be well out there. Be nice to each other. I'll see you in the morning. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.